Give Blood, another rock chorus of violence set to music? No, it's another Peter Townshend political essay set to music. The song's an analogy for post-war England and the need of a generation to bleed for their country, but having no war to fight.
Don't expect to ever see reward.
For 20 years, Townshend's lyrics have tried to crystallize the feelings of his generation. His sermons were delivered from the pulpit of the rock band The Who until 3 years ago, when Townshend launched a solo career.
As a solo artist, I feel so much freer because I do feel I can move forward or backward or sideways or whatever. And I've got no identity, I've got no past to try and recapture. I feel sort of like I'm starting again.
The solo records have been critically acclaimed, but have not returned Townshend the commercial success he enjoyed with The Who. Now he's venturing into more unfamiliar waters with a book he's authored called Horse's Neck. This collection of fictional short stories closely parallels Townshend's own life.
The kind of people that listen to my work range from probably between 50 years old way down to 15. And I think once you start to deal with such a wide range of audience, you're weakened, I think. You are weakened. I think it's much better to specialize because then you can deal with narrower ideas which become more forceful because of the fact that they're narrower. It's like water coming out of the hose that you use on your lawn. You know, if you squeeze the nozzle up, it comes out with great force. I feel a bit like a nozzle that's wide open, trying to spray a very large area, you know, and not really reaching people properly. I'm reaching a lot of people, but I'm not drenching them in the way that I used to when I was a kid, you know.
One thing he hasn't stopped doing is writing songs for Roger Daltrey, former lead singer of The Who. Townshend just composed Daltrey's latest single, After the Fire.
I know what he needs, and he can sing what I write with a peculiarly intuitive and symbiotic passion.
Some people might be surprised that the two of you talk.
Oh yeah, we're very friendly.
How do the reports go around that it seemed like after Live Aid there were all these reports that you hadn't spoken to each other until you walked on stage?
No, that's nonsense.
Was it moving at all at the Live Aid concert to reunite for one day?
Of course it was moving. It was great. But I was in hysterics of laughter most of the time. I mean, I just couldn't believe it that we were up there doing these same sort of, me pretending to be a kangaroo and Roger throwing a mic up in the air and John Entwistle playing, I think, what must probably be measured as 250 decibels out of tune. The thing about Live Aid was that it was live. People know you're alive, and I think that helps. They don't like going out and buying old Who records, you know, when they don't even know if these guys exist anymore. I think it's very important that they know that they still function, can still play, and still care enough to get on a stage.
Is there anything you regret in your career?
There must be, you know, at least 1,000 incidents that I regret. Incidents where I lost my temper on stage or became violent in some way or got too drunk to know what I was doing or used drugs or whatever. But bearing in mind that you know, I'm looking back on 25 years, I'm very proud of the average that I come up with. You know, I mean, we've done a lot of good stuff.
Perhaps the major regret for Townshend was the drug-related death of Who drummer Keith Moon, considered to be one of the inspired lunatics in rock and roll.
I think that happens far too often in the music business. I've more or less dedicated myself to confrontation of drugs. And possibly drink problems, not alcohol itself, but drug abuse and misuse. You know, I'm 40 years old now. I'm kind of a responsible guy. And I'm down on it all, you know, because I do feel that, you know, I feel lucky to be alive. I'm not saying to people don't experiment or anything like that, but if there's been one tragedy that the rock and roll industry has to think twice about, are we responsible or not, it's got to be drug abuse.
Having kicked his own drug habit, Townshend says the only thing he's addicted to these days is the recording studio. The latest album from his time in the studio is called White City. Does Townshend expect the album to return him to the top of the charts?
No, I don't think I do aim for the top 10. I aim to just reach as many people as I can, but I want to reach their hearts, not just their feet.